Hello. Am I live? Yes, I am. Hello. Welcome to Tea with the Druid 272, brought to you by the Order of Bards, Oviates and Druids. And this is Philip Cargom, and it's lovely to be with you on this September evening. So I can see that gradually people are arriving in the forest clearing from Poland and the Catskills and Washington and Airdrie and Switzerland and Arden, Delaware, and Nova Scotia, and Amsterdam, Southern St. Lucia, and London, Leiden, South Florida, all over the place. Somebody else in Amsterdam, and Sao Paulo and Brazil, welcome, and Austria. So, in other words, into the forest clearing, people are coming from many different directions. Through this magic, we're engaging in an act of communal magic, group magic. Even though our physical bodies are located on different parts of the planet, thanks to the internet, by magic, we are together in this virtual space. And we're adding into that magic, our own magic of the imagination, of imagining that we're in a circle together, that we're sitting together. And we're adding to the magic of the natural world by imagining that that circle is in nature, that we're sitting in a forest clearing. The trees are around us. The stars are up above us. The earth is beneath us. And that act of imagination is our own individual act. And we, of course, are free not to engage in it. You don't need to imagine this. You can just be totally, you might be, I don't know, you just don't have to do it. If you don't want to, you can just sit there and watch this video like any old video. Or you can add that little spice and imagine that you're sitting in a forest clearing. But the magic of the internet is still working and bringing us together, and that's wonderful. And I'm so pleased we're all together now. There are about 250 of us here in the circle, which is wonderful. So let's just tune in now, tune into the woodland landscape around us, and just check in with yourself and ask yourself how you're feeling. Where are you at? How, are you settled? Are you a little frazzled? Are you tired? Are you energized? It'd be nice to hear from you. Just type in, if you wish, just a word or two of how you're feeling, and enjoying a bit of solitude after a lovely weekend filled with festival and friends. That's great. Hopeful, deeply grateful and inspired, feeling marvelous, restless, very tired, light, calm, tired but content, feeling wonderful, relaxed and quiet, mellow after a luxuriant afternoon swim, pretty chilled, glad it's going so fast, on track and a little bit excited, inwards, content, at a crossroads, tired and confused, feeling betwixt and between, frazzled but enjoying the lovely weather. I always feel that I'm sitting with others in the clearing. Busy times ahead, life is changing, so taking some rest, happy to be here, calm after a walk across the seashore, tired from a relaxing weekend at the Freya Festival, peaceful, happy, in a camping site. I'm in a camping site, so peaceful, not feeling well at all, I'm sorry. Labor Day here in the US today. Oh gosh, mellow, relaxed, optimistic, abiding, tired but stable, waiting for the dark phase. Yes, we've had this wonderful blue moon, haven't we? This huge moon. Enjoying the moment. Yes, I feel you all with me, says Nemi. Unable to concentrate or focus. Grateful to be in the clearing. Uncertain, should be content, but not. Weird summer. Happy. It's nice to be back here after a very busy summer. Okay, thank you. Do continue typing in if I haven't got to you yet. So here we are with this whole range of feelings. And what I'm going to suggest that we do today is that we go into meditation straight away, just dip our toes into an altered state, and then come out and let's have a little bit of a discussion so that you can open your eyes. And if you want to type something, you can type something, or you can stay with your eyes closed if you feel moved to do so. And then we'll drop back down into the meditation again. And I like those kind of meditations where you move through the levels. It's great to have a meditation where you go really deep and you stay deep, or really high and you stay high. But it's also, I think, quite interesting to develop the ability, the facility to be in an everyday state of consciousness and then drop into an altered state, just letting go of everything, letting go. And there's a kind of recharging and a resourcing that happens there as we connect in at a deeper level. And then we can come out again and interact. And in fact, having that ability is hugely helpful, so that when you, especially when you deal with lots of people or you meet lots of people or your life is quite busy, in the end, you can just drop back in for a few moments, draw some water from the well, take a drink, and then come back out and engage and interact. So let's do this now. We've heard how a lot of us are feeling, and so we're now this lovely big circle, about 300 of us now, sitting in this circle. And of course, if you're watching the recording of this, there's still an energy and an atmosphere that you can pick up on. And so here we are in the circle now. And if it feels okay for you, you might like to lower your gaze or close your eyes, and just to become aware of being seated or even lying, if you feel like it, on the ground. And let's just tune into the ground and feel this earth, the solidity and strength of the earth, bringing us to rest. This is where we can rest, on the earth. Thank heavens it's here so we can land on it and let ourselves really land on the land and let go. So as you breathe out, you might like to just feel yourself letting go and relaxing. And as you breathe in, you might like to sense the energy of the earth flowing up into your being, bringing you a sense of strength and stability and healing. Breathing out, letting go. Breathing in a sense of strength and healing connected to the earth. And then connecting now to the trees around us. You feel them rooted deep in the earth. And you sense the trees around us in this forest clearing as our brothers and sisters, these living beings with consciousness, with energy, with life. And the destiny of these living beings is completely bound up with our destiny, or rather, I should say, ours is bound up with theirs. And they are our guardians, our protectors, our friends, our allies. And we feel blessed by the energy of the trees. And as you breathe in, you might be able to notice the perfume of these trees, the scent of the trees. You might like to just imagine that. Just imagine breathing in the scent of the trees. And this brings you a different kind of vitality. It's earthy, but it's different. there's another quality as well. It's quite interesting to distinguish between the quality of energy that the earth brings us and then the quality that the tree brings us. And then become aware now of the sky above us. To me, it feels as if it's nighttime and the stars are starting to come out, but you may sense it differently. And just sense the presence of the sky above us, the freshness of the air. And breathe in deeply now. Breathe in deeply, a gulp of this fresh air and the energy from the sky, bringing you vitality. And every time you breathe in, more vitality flows into you. And the energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And in Druid rituals and ceremonies, which take place ideally in just this sort of clearing in a forest, we make space for art, for the arts, for music, for song, for poetry, for dance, for story. So let me read you a poem now. And at any time you can either choose to stay in this meditative state, or rather to stay with your eyes closed in this meditative state, or if you wish, you can gently open your eyes, whichever you like. And I'm going to read you just part of a very powerful poem, At the Orphan's Door by Tom Hirons. And just be open to how you feel as the words flow towards you. There is a doorway in the woods through which I go sometimes to gather the scattered people of my heart's forgotten country. On the frame of the door are scraped the life marks, the story bones of my soul. Here I grew taller, and here I was cut down. Here I knew grandeur. Here I lost the way. All the time I became fuller, and the country richer and thicker than I ever dreamed of, both wastes and wonderlands. Often I walk past without a look, return home, pour food and drink into the hole in my heart, ignoring the cries of my lost people and the scent of my soul's own land. I become thinner by the day. Beyond the orphan's door, I exist in all my times and places. In storms and sweet summers, I abide in tranquility and unrest. And I'm going to just talk a little bit now. And again, you choose whether you wish to open your eyes and whether you wish to type in whatever comes to you, to stay in a meditative state, however you feel. But what I'd like to explore with you, which is the concept of feeling companionship in aloneness. Feeling companionship in your aloneness. So just kind of open to that. What does that trigger for you? Feeling companionship in your aloneness, which is different from the experience of feeling alone in company. You know, when you feel alone in company, it's that very uncomfortable feeling where you're with a bunch of people, you're in some setting, you might be in your family, with your family, or at a party, or wherever. So people are around you, but you feel really alone, somehow separate from everybody, not able to connect. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. But feeling companionship in your aloneness is something different. What happens when I think of that is I think of my aloneness as a kind of sovereign territory of my soul, a particular territory in Tom Hiron's poem. I'll give you the link where you can find the rest of that poem, etc. in a minute. But where you feel your aloneness, yet you feel held in some way. And let's open up to that feeling of being held in our aloneness. What does that mean when we're feeling alone? And it could be in a kind of melancholic way, it could be in a very pleasant way, it could be kind of on the border between loneliness and a sense of pleasant solitude. Let's put it that way. What comes to me is the story of Merlin when he went mad after the Battle of Arderet, and he wandered like a wild man in the woods, and like a madman too. He went mad, and at some point he was accompanied by a wolf. The wolf in the animal oracle card always evokes that story for me in the Druid Animal Oracle. And it's something about, if I feel companionship in my aloneness, I feel deeply heard, even in the silence. So the companionship in one's aloneness can be coming from a loved one. One can sense a human being, a loved one, somebody who loves you, a lover, a dear friend, an anamkara, the idea of the soul friend in the Celtic tradition, the soul friend. And in some approaches to psychotherapy and counseling, that is the aim too, is to create a sense of support and companionship, even in the silence, even in someone's solitude. And we can have it from a human being. There's different kind of roles. And of course, ideally, we would hope that our mother and father would be able to provide that sense of companionship. There's something incredibly respectful about this idea as well, is that they're not violating your boundaries or your need for solitude, trying to be overly helpful, trying to be overly parental, overly loving, overly attached, but just being present. Witnessing is another lovely sort of term for that, if you like. But it can also be a group of humans. So what I hope, and what I feel, my sense in our evenings together in these Tea with the Druids, is that we're all supporting each other in some kind of magical way, because you could, from a rational point of view, you can say you're crazy. So, there's some guy in St. Lucia and somebody else in Poland, somebody else in Sao Paulo, and they're just on the internet. Come on. But I think we understand things perhaps in a different way, and there is a way. We are within a field together, and we are supporting each other. And I've talked to sufficient numbers of people now over the years about their experiences on Tea with a Druid, people that I bump into in the street or in different environments in different countries, who talk to me about their experiences in these sessions, that reinforces for me the idea that something more is happening than simply going online and watching something. So we can have this sense of companionship coming from a group of people, or we can be sitting in a group. And again, for those of you who've experienced group meditations or group ceremony or group spiritual work, even when you're sitting in the silence together, again, the rationalist, the skeptic might say, well, you don't need to be sitting in the same room. Why don't you go and sit in your own room on your own? But no, something's happening by being in the same room together. Companionship in our integrity. But of course, animals can provide this sense of companionship too. Merlin and his wolf. Many people feel that with their dog in particular, perhaps with their cat too. It can perhaps be harder to do sometimes with a cat because they're very much on their own. But also any pet, any animal can provide that. Andy's saying he's been contacted by 5 friends today to lift him up. That's lovely, Andy, to hear this. And the animals may not be our pets in the traditional sense, but when you go into the woods with this possibility, this frame of mind where you say, I may be alone as a human being walking into the woods now. I may sometimes feel lonely, but I'm open to this idea of feeling the support and companionship in my aloneness. And then the very woods herself will provide that. The trees will provide it. The spirits of the trees will be our companions. And the animals will be our companions. The birds will be our companions. So we can drop back for a moment. Oh, and let me just, before we do, let me just suggest one more category of beings who might be supporting us in our aloneness. And that's spirits. How do we want to call them? What angels, fairies, devas, loved ones who've gone before us into the other world, our teachers and guides on other planes. So let's now drop back in. Let's, if you've kind of come out and typed something or just come out, maybe you might like to, if you want to, you might like to go back. Just drop back in. And let's sit in the woods now. Here we are sitting in the woods. And we've got our sovereign territory, ourselves. And yet, there's the support of the earth beneath us. And you might like to imagine you're placing your palms on the earth and feeling the earth with your 2 palms. So you're sensing that support. And then you might like to move your hands out to your companions and hold your companions' hands to either side and sense the support of the group. And the beautiful thing is it doesn't have to be verbal. It's a feeling. And if we've lived predominantly in our minds, predominantly in our rational self, it can be so good to just drop that concern about trying to understand stuff. Just instead to know that there's something's going on there. I feel this support, this love, this connection, this community. And you just gently squeeze either hand and let the hands drop away now and bring them back to your lap. And sense the companionship of the trees. The whole forest now, the mycelial network, the mushrooms and plants, the animals and birds. And if you want to open your awareness of companionship even wider, you can open it to the idea of invisible friends, other friends in the other world, guides, guardians, mentors. And sometimes, not always, sometimes that sense of aloneness just melts away as you feel so connected to everything and everyone and all of life. And the idea of separateness and aloneness or individuality just drops away as you feel one with all being, with all of life. And just to give yourself an anchor, you might want to focus on the breathing, but still feeling at one with all beings. Or defined, if you wish, that's fine too, because we move between a sense of being defined beings and then feeling at one with all being. And the thing about feeling at one with all being or feeling connected to everything is it's not supposed to last certainly in the incarnated lifespan, because it would be very hard to go to the supermarket or to go out to lunch if you were felt continuously one with all beings. So you have to come back to a sense of being a particular individual. But with this sense and this feeling of having been a universal being, having connected to all things, to oneness. So now just allow yourself to come back to an awareness of being an individual being, blessed by being on the earth, blessed by being alive. And you might like to bring your hands together over your heart. And you might like to do this physically too. So you bring your palms together over your heart so you feel the warmth of your palms on your heart. A blessing on my life, a blessing on all lives, a blessing on life, and a blessing on the land, on Mother Earth, on all beings. And feeling the warmth in your heart, you become aware of your physical body. And you gently bid goodbye to the circle, to the sacred grove, to your friends and companions in the grove, as you allow your awareness of being seated in the clearing, in the circle, to fade, as you become aware of being seated in front of your screen, fully present, here and now, with your eyes open. Thank you, David, for these comments. Thank you for a wonderful experience of the various states of being and relatedness one can experience. I feel them all frequently each day, from loneliness to cosmic oneness. All are gifts and blessings. Lovely to share the sense of relatedness and companionship that takes place here in the sacred grove. Yes, thank you, David. Some lovely comments here. As an introverted writer, I'm often alone, but never feel it. I'm enriched by my muses within and without, by nature spirits, my characters, my spirit guides and ancestors, and here with you all. Thank you, thank you. Let me, I have just finished Suzanne Simard's wonderful Finding the Mother Tree, so this was perfect. Of course, that's this wonderful forester, thank you, Anne, Suzanne Simard, who talks about how there are mother trees in the forest and how everything's connected. which is essentially what we're doing in a meditation like this. We're affirming our the way that we're all part of an interrelated web, but we're all individuals as well. Okay, I am going to all these wonderful comments. I'm blessed to be able to stand on the verge or shoreline of the world within, the other world, and the mundane everyday world. Being in this world is something I've had to work on the most. Yes, I think many people feel that. So, okay. Let me paste in here. There was a quote I wanted to read you from Rilke. Let's finish with that. He's actually talking about marriage, but it applies actually to all relationship, I think. So he starts off by saying, it's from his wonderful book, Letters to a Young Poet. He starts off by saying, the point of marriage is not to create a quick commonality by tearing down all boundaries. On the contrary, a good marriage is one in which each partner appoints the other to be the guardian of his solitude, and thus they show each other the greatest possible trust. Okay, and then we'll skip a sentence and we move on to something that you can apply. Once the realization is accepted that even between the closest people, infinite distances exist, a marvelous living side by side can grow up for them if they succeed in loving the expanse between them, which gives them the possibility of always seeing each other as a whole and before an immense sky. Isn't that wonderful? That lovely sense of respect. We all want closeness and intimacy, I think. And this says yes, but also that sense of stepping back, allowing us to see someone in their entirety, whole and against a wide sky. So Tracy is asking for that book. So that is it's a short book, but is just a classic. It's lovely. Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. Well worth reading. And let me also give you the poem was called the book is and the poem is called At the Orphan's Door by Tom Hirons, and it's published by the wonderful sounding Feral Angels Press, which is here. Here we go. I'm going to paste it in here. So that's the poem. That's where you'll find the poem, and it's it's a lovely little home-based publishing firm. So if you're able to order that book of poetry, I think you'll love it. So have a wonderful week. I shall go make a cup of tea, come back and read all your comments. I've seen there's some lovely comments there, and have a lovely week. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday. So many blessings, much love, and have a very good week to come. Bye.